My wife cheated on me. I suspected for 2 long and found proof on November 18th. My story thus far. I started dating my wife in 2000, and we were married in October of 2005. Our son was born in 2010. 13-year relationship. Married for 8, son that is 3.5 years old. Both of us have lots of family locally and good support bases for babysitting. Divorce would require the sale of our house and the relocation of her parents. That rent a second house from us. I would retain the house and my wife would sell the one we live in. These issues were discussed and, on a macro level, were agreed to a few weeks back. For the past year or so I've suspected that my wife was having an emotional affair with one of her colleagues. I asked her about it many times, every few days toward the end, and even asked her if she had sex with him. Everything was denied. She claimed he was a friend and even showed me pictures of him and his family. Told me where he worked, same industry, different company, and filled me in on some of their conversations. She was so lighthearted about it that I even started calling this guy her boyfriend. On November 17th, we had dinner with her parents and he got brought up in the most casual of ways. My wife hesitated just 0.5 seconds, longer than normal in her reaction to her parents, and I knew that something was up. The next morning, I took our family laptop and checked her iPhone backups for evidence. Turns out she had been sexting with him since early September and had been having a full-blown sexual affair with him since early October. I confronted her about it and she came clean, admitting to everything including a one-night stand with a guy back in February of 2013 at a work conference. In a nutshell, one-night stand in February 2013, sexting in September 2013, and a dozen or so sexual encounters in October and November of 2013. The last bit included a 3-day honeymoon. His words, during a work conference in October. They had specific plans to continue this through February 2014 until the same conference that they met at a year before. They both had agreed, in writing, before I discovered them, that they would end it after that. I had my wife get STD tests and she will follow up in 6 months. She and I were sleeping together during the affair and have continued to do so after. The other guy, 42, fairly successful partner at a small law firm, married with 3 kids, lives in the same town as us. I've ran into him already once when shopping. Point. We live nearby and will contend with running into each other from time to time. His wife, 42, who doesn't work, doesn't know about the affair. My wife seemed to indicate that his wife would likely go ballistic and take him to the cleaners if she found out. My wife and I are in therapy, couples and individual, and we are still working to see if we want to stay together. At this point she is 50/50ths and I'm 25/75ths or 75/25ths, depending on the day. We are very civil with each other and I believe that there is still mutual love between us. As you would imagine, there is also a great deal of pain, mistrust, tension, resentment, and a host of other emotions. I think that the relationship is salvageable if we are both willing to put in a ton of work. An issue is I'm not sure that either of us can stomach the process for months, and months or longer. We've discussed some of the reasons she did what she did, including some mutual faults in our relationship. We are working on those and I expect it to take a long time. In the meantime, I'm struggling with a few issues. I have a strong desire to tell his wife. I think it would be morally right and I'd feel some sense of righteousness in fixing that wrong. Consider it my way of getting back at him. The problem is that doing so may cause blowback on his career as well as my wife's. Thus, it could have blowback on me. I'm 99.9% sure I can't tell the wife, but I can't help but fantasize ways to tip her off while maintaining culpable deniability. If my wife and I do split up, I am currently vengeful enough that I'm 99.9% sure that I'm outing him to his wife. Note aforementioned cleaner's comment. Trust. I trust that my wife isn't sleeping or even communicating with this guy anymore. I have a good amount of proof that she is on the up and up, not to mention that I still have the iPhone Backups, complete with mutually damning photos and texts. If I were to catch them again at something, then it would be game over. The guy has a lot to lose. Should I go public? Having said that, my wife did sneak around with impunity for a few months, so I have some basic issue of who the fuck is this person that I'm married to. Basically, I assume everything she says is a lie until I can reasonably verify it through independent research. How have other people learned to trust again? My child. At 3.5, he is very young and won't likely remember much of mommy and daddy as a couple. If she and I were to split up now, in a year, that won't be the case. Right now he's pretty oblivious to our issues as, for the most part, we've kept calm when he is in the house. I'm sure, however, that he can sense the tension between us. I know for a fact that both she and I are likely more short with him. Has anyone else in the group been in similar situations with similar aged children? How did you handle things and how did it work out for your kids? Who to confide in? She has told her parents, sister, and a close friend. I have told the same, plus a few out-of-town friends. In a nutshell, we've largely hidden this from local friends, co-workers, etc. Of course, there is a part of me that wants to stand on a metaphorical mountaintop and let everyone know. Realistically, however, if we work through this, I'm not sure I want that ghost to forever follow us in a public setting.